it's not about the body. Body simply follows where you are internally. It reflects your inner status. You see? It reflects what happens in another department altogether. So we go through life and we go through phases where body simply begins to communicate. And sometimes it can communicate in a very, very unapologetic way.
I feel like I have an obsession around my physical body and its posture and alignment, and I feel like it takes up a lot of space. And it's just kind of always there, adjusting. How are my feet standing? How am I sitting? I think it stems from a lot of physical pain in the body. When I was younger, I was in an accident and seemingly fine. The scans said I had like a pinch in my back, but nothing really structural. But I went through many years of bad sciatic pain on my left side, and I started to compensate, put everything on my right side. So it's like I trained my body for years to stand on my right foot, drop this shoulder. I was always kind of tilted. And since I've gotten a lot healthier and practices and stuff like that, I'm trying to kind of straighten up. And it feels important, but it also feels like it's become almost an obsessive piece that takes me away from kind of dropping into things. But then through that, I find discomfort that pulls me out of my experience anyway, and I find myself kind of adjusting through my own practices and ceremonies and stuff. It also seems like something that the body spontaneously wants to do, as far as getting myself into postures and almost like a self-chiropractic type of thing. At times it's been subtle, but it often feels quite rough and like violent, and like I'm trying to force my body into the position of straightness. And I feel just stuck there and then kind of unsure how to step forward.
Well, our bodies, of course, the bodies where someone said that, right? Where the scores are kept. All the scores. Body keeps the scores. I think it's even the title of the book. I came across of that, and I thought, oh, that's very, very apt way of putting it. So whatever there is at subtler level, right? Particularly with regard to the emotional body, it sooner or later expresses itself somatically in terms of how we are, and how we sit, how we walk, how we are in the body, how the body itself. See? So it perhaps the answer is somewhere where it's not so much about the body itself and that obsession, right? That attention, that excessive maybe attention to making sure that everything is okay with the body is somewhere else. So attention needs to be shifted somewhere else. Body ideally, yes, body needs to be always kept in shape, in form. It's a must. So it's obvious. It has to be that any system we look into, they all agree. There needs to be this culture. It's part of culture. We need to look after the body. So body needs to move. It needs to have oxygen. It needs to have good air, good water, right? Nourishment, movement, right? And as long as there are other areas taken care of, then the body would with that. And each and every one of us have body in a way for the best. There is, I don't know if you have heard about that we kind of almost choose our body. We almost choose our body so as it would be the most fitting instrument for experiencing. And it's a kind of like a, interesting perspective. What's interesting here is that what causes here discomfort? You see? What causes the discomfort? Is it the body that causes the discomfort? I would say no. Body does not cause discomfort unless there's some injury, unless there's some disability, unless there's something. You said there was an injury, there was an accident, right? And there was the phase and the years of recovery, and that made you more aware to give more attention to it, right? So as to give that balance, right, between all the bodily systems. But if it feels and that you hurting yourself somehow, if you do these exercises or that, right? If you pick up weights and then something goes wrong, then you go into it's not about the body. Body simply follows where you are internally. It reflects your inner status. You see? It reflects what happens in another department altogether. So we go through life and we go through phases where body simply begins to communicate. And sometimes it can communicate in a very, very unapologetic way. Sometimes it communicates in a way of, take care of this. Take care of this. Take care of this. And then we don't give a hoot. We ignore that because the body is just being very polite. And then it's like, okay, you don't hear me, man? I'll show you. Barely can put my socks in the morning. That's it. Now you take care of me. Now I'm the priority. So this is the body language. Body communicates. Every sign needs to be observed. Ultimately, you're asking me this, yes. It has to become almost at the level of the hygiene, so we don't give it a second thought. See? So, it has to be at the level of the aesthetics. Also acceptable. At the level of the aesthetics. Not building up the body, how it looks in the mirror, or how it compares to certain, let's say, socially acceptable norms. No. I'm using this from another perspective, from another point of view altogether. But paying attention to any part of the body, whatever that is communicated, particularly when it comes to, let's say, areas, distinctive areas, right? Because human body is, yes, it's my body, it's this, it's that. Yes, at that level, at the level of superficial conversation, it's just that. It's my body, I do whatever I please with it. But there is another level altogether, the cosmic level, the level of where everything is interconnected. You could go through the astrological phase where planets will make you feel at the bodily level something happening. You know, if the Saturn is wrongly placed in such way,
I have that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Saturn will make all your locomotion, like, right, the legs. It will impact the legs from hips all the way down to the feet. It can impact the knees. It can impact ankles. It can impact soles of the feet. All Saturn, because it rules the locomotion. See? So I'm just saying that there is this more a cosmological perspective on the body. So it's not so much about the body itself, but something is being communicated there for you, right? And you started with, I'm kind of obsessive about my body, right? So what is it that really, really beneath that? What is it that really you're asking? Because body is not a problem. Body heals itself constantly. That's what body is designed to do. We give the conditions, we provide, we help, we assist, but body does all it does. It's constantly adjusts, constantly heals. Constantly heals.
Yeah, I feel like I've been stuck in some like patterns, and I've drastically changed things. The relationship to my body, at least in childhood, wasn't good. Like I feel very confident, calm, happy with the vehicle I have, how I eat, where I live, the environment I'm in. Changed just about everything about my lifestyle to support life. Like, yeah, hearing and reflecting as you speak, like, yeah, it feels like there's an emotional component there somewhere, and I can look through the language of astrology too, and where my Saturn's placed, and like understand that is part of it. Yeah, I guess there's just a feeling of kind of stuckness, like where do I go from here? Another piece that comes up is a lot of pain arising in sleep. I feel I have a pretty calm and peaceful and beautiful life. I find my dream space quite hectic, quite violent. I don't have a lot of recall in my dreams, but it's all like I toss and turn in the night, and I find like a lot of like I wake up in a lot of pain, and I get up for 5 minutes, and it kind of dissipates, and I'm all right. So I don't know how that plays in, but it felt important to add.
Well, obviously there's some accumulation. There's some accumulation of something, right? Because whenever it comes to the area of sleep is supremely important. Sleep, dreams. The dreams are very important. It's as important as the waking state. It's another reality, another realm. Whatever we cannot experience in this realm, we experience in a dream. We become complete in a dream. In a dream, we are more complete. So the sleep area of sleep is a foundational to health, but foundational to sanity, really. So this, what you're saying, is an indication there is some deep imbalances, some accumulation. So you need to simply look into this constructively and attentively. You see? So what is it what areas that needs to let go? What you need to change, what you need to realign, what outlived itself, how to go from here, what is important and what is no longer serving. That's really making this simple, life-affirming decisions and stick with them and move with that. So, because when we suffer in sleep, when our sleep is disturbed, and in your age, you still, the beard make you look much more mature. But how old are you?
34.
34, right? Just kind of coming to the, right, to your prime, right? 34. And men 36, 37 is considered to be, because when you reach 40, you're coming to the more of that, traditionally speaking, spiritual age, where the looks, the appearances should become less and less important. So still, in that age, right, you should put your head on a pillow and fall into the void. It should be like, so there is an indication, there is some accumulation of some stresses, some imbalances that begins to throw out of the system when you go to sleep.
I generally, like, I get enough sleep, but I wake up rested. Like, I go to bed, I fall asleep, no problem. I don't have any insomnia issues whatsoever. It's just like a tossing and turning, and I don't recall like having sweet dreams. It's a lot of, destruction, things
Yeah,
crumbling.
that's, processing.
Uh-huh.
That's what I say. Accumulate. Something is accumulated in the system, but you cannot process it. The waking state of consciousness, right, which corresponds to the conscious realm, is being processed in the subconscious when you are given to rest, when you're given to sleep, in your dreams, that restlessness, all that, whatever that, it continues, consciousness continues to, it makes it, tries to metabolize all that. Again, properly aligned meditative practices will help you tremendously. Tremendously. I would say it will be the quickest way to really restore balance there. So I would say in the same way that I hope you will walk out of the immersion with a renewed way of meditating, so that you can apply this on a daily basis, and very quickly you will put this behind you. Because meditation has that power. Therapeutically speaking, meditation has nothing that beats it. Nothing beats meditation in terms of alignment. Physical injuries, spinal injuries are healed through meditation that no chiropractor, no like physiotherapy can heal. I've experienced it myself, and I've witnessed it many, many, many times.